Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much. Continue to be overwhelmed by the number of folks who continue to subscribe and watch these videos. Hope you continue to enjoy them. Hope you continue to find all the information you're looking for if you're thinking about coming to Prime. Again, that's what I'm trying to do here. Trying to give a little bit of a slant towards tanker, but also doing some generic videos, and that's what this one is today. It is about Prime orientation. And orientation is a little bit different depending on why you're coming to Prime. Whether you're coming for the PSD program or whether you're a rehire, if you've worked at Prime before, of course you have an idea of what orientation is. Or if you're coming from a different company, or if you're coming out of a truck driving school. However, a lot of orientation is the same. And I'll maybe explain what some of the differences are when we get to the different stages. Bottom line, Prime is going to be glad to pay for a bus ticket, Greyhound ticket, for you to show up in Springfield, Missouri. They also do orientation in Salt Lake City. We have a terminal there, in Utah, and Pittston in Pennsylvania, which is in the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton area, if you're not familiar with where Pittston is. They do orientation there, much smaller classes. Most of the guys and girls that are going to join Prime are going to go to the Springfield location. Bottom line, though, Prime will pay for a Greyhound ticket to get you to wherever your orientation is. You don't have to take Greyhound if you don't want to. I took Greyhound, but I didn't want to go just in a one fell swoop ride. It was a 24-hour trip from where I lived in Michigan to Springfield, Missouri. I had to go through Chicago. My folks lived in Chicago, so what I did was I paid for my own ticket, and I actually bought two tickets. I bought one for Friday night drive down in Greyhound to Chicago, and then Sunday morning Chicago to Springfield. If you want to do that, if you want to arrange your own transportation, if you want to fly, if you want to drive yourself, if you want to get there by walking, however you want to do it, Prime's fine with that. And in fact, they will reimburse you what the cost of said Greyhound ticket would be. You just have to get through orientation. And on the Friday of orientation, you stop in the orientation office, and they'll reimburse you the cost of what a ticket would be on Greyhound. If you don't have the funds to do that, if you don't want to do that, if you just say, hey, I'm just going to take the bus ticket, Prime's fine with that. They will provide that, and you coordinate all that with recruiting. They will send you a ticket in the mail or send it through email, your confirmation number, how that all works. So that's the first thing about orientation. Second thing is you're going to end up showing up on Sunday afternoon or Sunday night, and you're going to arrive at the campus inn. Now, I'm going to strictly talk really about Springfield, Missouri orientation. I don't know how different it is in Salt Lake City or in Pittston. I know Pittston has a hotel. Prime does not own the hotel like they do in Springfield. I would assume that there's a hotel similar in Salt Lake City to what they have in Pittston. There's a shuttle service. They will pick you up at the Greyhound terminal. They'll transport you to the hotel. In Springfield, that is the campus inn. What Prime has done is they have basically purchased a hotel. It's an older hotel. They're working on doing some renovations. But it is an older hotel, and they have turned basically what was a conference center in the front. They've turned it into the training facilities. So the classrooms are up front, the simulator lab, the computer labs, a bunch of little classrooms up there for different, for the safety class, for the leasing class, for the orientation class, the original class. And there's computer labs, the simulation lab. There's a cafeteria there. So you'll get a ride to that, and then there's the hotel portion, and you'll get put up for the week of orientation in the campus inn. And if you go to one of the other facilities, I'm sure what they do is they take you to the hotel that they have contracted through. I did spend some time at the hotel in Pittston that Prime has a contract with. Sunday night when you get there, meals. I know a lot of folks wonder about meals. They will provide you with a bag lunch for Sunday night. You will get meals paid for, and basically what you get is you get a dollar amount credit to be used for food in the cafeteria. So you get your sack lunch, and it's basically, a sandwich. There's some fruit in there. There's a juice box or something along those lines. So it's a very basic sack lunch for Sunday night. And then Monday through Friday morning, I think they give you breakfast and lunch on Friday. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% positive. It was over a year ago at this point. But they give you something like $4.50 for breakfast, $5.50 for lunch, $6.50 for dinner. And it's an a la carte cafeteria style breakfast. You can buy eggs, you can buy drinks. Just as a quick note, tea and coffee always free at any terminal within Prime. So that's one way to save a little bit of money there. You also get a packet of paperwork. You'll need to fill that out Sunday night. Don't wait for Monday morning before your first class. Don't wait for during your first class on Monday. That paperwork needs to be filled out Sunday night. So those are your two priorities when you get there on Sunday. You'll get a schedule in that paperwork, depending on if you're a PSD or if you're a rehire or if you're coming from a truck driving school or if you're coming from an outside company. That will outline what you do for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the rest of the week. Stay on that schedule. Show up early. Prime pays attention to the fact if you show up early, if you don't show up early. I don't remember. I think it might be 6 a.m. for the first class on Monday. If you show up at 6:01, they're going to put you on a bus heading home. Nobody wants that after going all the way, and they're going to make you pay to go back home. So if you somehow fail something or don't end up going through the process, you're going to have to pay for your Greyhound ticket home. They'll gladly use the shuttle to take you back to the Greyhound, but you're going to have to pay to get yourself back home. Been told, I've never been in the military, but I've been told day one is very similar to the first day of boot camp. You'll end up doing a DOT physical, very basic. Check your height, your weight, make sure you can see, make sure you can hear. They'll check your blood pressure. I know some guys are worried about blood pressure. It needs to be under 140/80. That is a DOT requirement. That is not a Prime requirement. If you don't get it under that in day one, they'll give you a chance to try again on Tuesday morning. And they'll give you a chance again on Wednesday morning. So they will not kick you out right away if you don't get that blood pressure below that limit on the first day. They'll also check you for marker signs for sleep apnea. I'm not real familiar with that. I've never had to go through the sleep study. You don't have to take the sleep study the week of orientation, though, so keep that in mind. You'll also go through an interview. It's a pretty basic interview. They go over your application. Really what they want to do is make sure you didn't lie on your application. Did you have a speeding ticket 3 years ago? Did you put that on your application? They do a pretty thorough background check. And if you got a speeding ticket 3 years ago and you thought, well, I'm not going to put it down because I want to get hired, Prime's going to find out that you had a speeding ticket, and they're going to say, you know what, this guy's not trustworthy because he's lying on his application. And they're going to put you on that Greyhound to go back home. Basically, they want to confirm your employment. A DOT safety-sensitive job requires a 10-year employment history, so they do need that employment history, and they will call and verify with your previous employers. So I personally had to, I don't remember how many employees I had in the previous 10 years, I had to call one of them and say, you haven't verified my employment, and kind of kickstarted that process to make sure that they had verified the dates that I had worked at that particular place. There's also, I'm not sure what you would call it, kind of, it's a different type of physical. They want to make sure you physically can do the job. They'll make sure you can climb a ladder, that you can lift a certain amount of weight off the ground. You can do a duck walk, which basically is a squatted walk, walking from side to side. That's so you can walk underneath the trailer and check the kingpin. Do some real basic things to make sure you're physically capable of doing the job. And you'll also do a drug test. That's part of the DOT physical portion of that section. So it's one of those hurry up and wait situations. You'll sit in line, you'll move up one spot, as you go through and get all those things done. The other thing that you'll do, and it's going to be on your schedule, is you've got a bunch of classes, and you'll have computer-based testing. Computer-based testing, there are a bunch of videos. You'll watch them on the computers in the computer lab. Some of them you have to take a test at the end of. Some of them you just have to watch. And depending on, again, if you're PSD or rehire, gone to truck or whatever, they're going to be different videos for different people. You just have to sit through them. They take a lot of time to go through because there are a lot of videos. Probably a dozen to 2 dozen videos you have to go through, ranging anywhere from 10 minutes to some of them are a half an hour long. So I mean, you're talking several hours worth of computer-based testing CDTs that you have to complete. And then the final thing, besides these little classes, are going to be the simulators. The other thing, if you're PSD, and this is a new law in the state of Missouri, again, I'm not going to pretend to know how it works in Utah or Pennsylvania, but Missouri state law as of January 1st, 2016, you can no longer take your CDL permit out of state and transfer that permit into Missouri. You used to be able to do that. I did that. I thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread, because there's a lot of people who are stressed that week. You've got a lot of things going on, and to me, the last thing I wanted to worry about was having to pass my CDL permit tests. And to me, I took those permits tests before I went to Springfield. State of Missouri, again, this is not a prime new rule. This is a state of Missouri new law. They don't let you do that anymore. You have to take the CDL permit tests in state. So part of orientation, you have to take those CDL permit tests. They will again have that shuttle available, transport you back and forth to the DOT office, and you can take those tests. They give you several opportunities. If you don't pass them the first time, I believe you can take each test 3 times. So it's the general knowledge test, it's the air brakes test, it's the tanker test. Boy, and is there another one? I apologize. Like I said, it's been over a year for me. I already had my Class B CDL when I went to Prime. So all I had to do was take the tanker test, the combination test. That's the other one. So all I had to do was take combination and tanker and transfer those endorsements over to get my learner's permit for a Class A. But again, if you're coming now, watching this video and moving forward, the current laws as of today, and today's recording this video in April of 2016, as of January 1st, 2016, you do need to take that test, all those tests in state. You can't transfer them from out of state like you used to be able to do. Final thing about orientation, again, show up on time. Conduct yourself while you are in class and while you're walking around the campus and anywhere really. Keep in mind that the campus inn is not just people who are going through orientation. There are people there who are upgrading. So there are drivers who have gone through PSD, TNT, and they're back getting their own truck. There are guys staying at the campus inn who have their own truck, and they're there because they don't, they just want to sleep somewhere other than their truck for a night or two. Or they're there to take one of the PSD instructor classes or the TNT trainer class. So there's other guys that are around. And one of those guys may end up being, maybe somebody's there to take the PSD instructor class, and that may end up being your PSD instructor. And if you make a good impression, they may say, hey, this is the guy that I want to take out with me on my truck. Be social. You may not see this, and it's kind of funny for me to say. I am a bit of an introverted person, It's one of the reasons I think I do well in this particular career is it's kind of a field for people who like to be alone. Might not seem that way with the YouTube stuff that I'm doing, but be social when you're at the campus inn for orientation. Introduce yourself, find out about the people around you. Again, you may run into a trainer or an instructor, and that may end up being the person who ends up taking you out on their truck. If you just sit in the corner and keep to yourself, you could be sitting there a while. One thing to note, if you're going for PSD, Friday afternoon, they're going to take everybody over to one of the training pads, and that'll be your first opportunity usually to drive bobtail, again without a trailer. They'll do some practicing for backing with a trailer, and usually you try and get hooked up with a trainer for the first time. You may have met somebody along the way. I personally met somebody on Wednesday, and that was how I got my trainer. But on Friday afternoon is when you're going to try and get your trainer. There's people who do not end up with trainers or PSD instructors on Friday afternoon. You can help yourself by being social and trying to meet people during the week of orientation. That's what I got for you. That's what Prime's orientation is all about. Again, this is not necessarily one of the videos that has to do specifically with tanker. The weather continues to get nicer and nicer, so spring is here. Hopefully my wife will be able to come along on one of these weekends, and I'll be able to do some of the stuff outside so we can show you how pumping works and all that stuff. So hopefully we'll get back to some tanker specific videos, but always good to show you just some generic things about Prime. Hope you continue to enjoy. Thanks so much. I've had a bunch of people tell me that they have used my name as a reference. Again, I'm not forcing anybody to do anything, but if you do feel like you've gotten something out of my videos, I do appreciate you putting my name down when they ask if you've been referred to Prime by somebody. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, and I can get a little bit of a bonus out of it. So channel name, that's my name. If you want to use that, thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share these videos. I'm continuing to enjoy doing them, so I'm going to keep making videos. So thanks so much. If you have any questions about this topic or something else you'd like me to do a video about, please comment below. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again next week.